All right, this is the West Virginia game breakdown. I know this is coming a little bit later in the week. Had a busy week, and it takes a lot to put these videos together and the way that I break them down, the information that I try to give. I know right now it's been a tough last couple games for BYU. I don't even have to go search for it, but I know I've been in these shoes before. There's always a lot of criticism. There's always a lot of people losing faith and saying that like this season's a bust. To me, there's still really important games up ahead. I am not going to jump on the space of slamming players, slamming coaches. That's not why I started doing these videos. That's not why I put together why they do it. These were always aimed at being more instructional, aimed at talking about why the scheme is what it is, what's happening. Of course, when things don't go right, and I use some of those plays when things don't go right, I am going to go through it as if I'm in the meeting room and I'm saying, here's what my eyes see. Now, granted, I'm not on the practice field with these BYU players. I'm not in the meeting room with these players. I don't know exactly what they're being taught, but I just try to give realistic feedback of what I'm seeing. Again, there may be some people wanting that these videos are more of a, point the finger at somebody, who's at fault. We want to know who's messing up. That has not ever been my aim of these videos, and this is why I'm doing this little video before I start it, because I just want everybody to know this game is a tough game, and things at times when they are tough and things aren't going well, this is when the people in the team, the coaches, when everybody really needs to stick together. And I will never, ever be somebody on the outside that is ever pulling people down or trying to break apart what a team is trying to accomplish, or be, kind of a naysayer or a hater or any of that type of stuff. I can't do it. So I'm always supporting these guys. I'm always pulling for the team and the coaches. I want to see these guys turn this thing around, right the ship, and get things going this week against Iowa State. That being said, I pulled up about 15 clips from this West Virginia game of some things that went well, some things that did not go well, and some things that give a lot of instruction into some of the offensive and defensive schemes being used in the game, and what truly gives you an opportunity to see why they do it.
All right, so the first clip that I'm going to show is actually going to be a positive, something that was executed really well. You're going to see that they bring back this motion. Now, a big key here is they're just going to throw this little quick now screen. But when they motion back outside, what they're trying to do is they know that personnel-wise, they can handle two. A third element over here, low, is going to cancel this out. So what the quarterback is looking for is as he goes in motion right here, he's scanning, he realizes there's depth. Because of that depth, we can go ahead and block 2 for 2 out here. We're good here, right there. Now, it helps us out that they bring this backer. If that backer didn't come and that backer started flying out to the flat, when he sees the throw, it probably would have been in the same amount of yards. But here we get this internal pressure here. They bring 5. This works out nice, and we can throw this quick little boundary now. And the good thing here is we're able to turn this guy inside. Because we turn him inside, that gives a lane for the receiver to go here. And then now watch this block here as he takes his guy to the outside, right? So 2 really good blocks that's going to allow him to get up here. And then the next thing is this guy settles. We've played some teams that come downhill really hard. Because that guy settles, now we can make a move on him. And even if he makes the tackle, we're still going to get yards upfield because of momentum. Anytime a player settles like that, now the offensive player should get the upfield momentum. So on this play here, it's just a quick little now screen, executed well. I know it's a simple play, good execution. I just wanted to get started off because we're going to have some things that discuss some things that went wrong. I thought it'd be good to start this thing off with something that went right. All right, this is a play that is a very standard play for BYU, and you can see Jake kind of like double clutch this throw. So this is a timing out route. All right, the concept in its simplest form is an out route, and then you're going to have these mesh concepts with a spot over the ball. That's kind of the basis of it. And so basically what that means is you're going to progress from the out. If you say no to the out, you're going to come to the shallow to your side. Then you're going to come to the over. You're going to have this inside triangle. The easiest way that I like to say it is, hey, premier out route, take it. Otherwise, you're going to have people that end up in these 3 spots. This is this inside triangle that you get to work off. And it works great versus man or zone. Quarterback knows if it's man and I turn down the out, that shallow coming to me, that's going to be the one that I come to next. Because the shallow on top should create a natural pick. If it's zone, a lot of the times if you say no to the out, you're going to bring your eyes back to that triangle, and then you're going to feel the expansion of the backers, and you're going to feel where to throw the football. So I get this. This is a unique look. okay? They show like they're going to play what they've been doing, right? Like this safety looks like he's going to run over the top. It looks like you might get a cloud corner that's going to come inside, end up being a flat player. There are times when this guy comes inside and you can still throw this out route around him. But in this case right here, he's going to deepen up. He's going to give us space. So he's going to turn his shoulders and he's going to sink with depth. So that's no different than a press bail guy that can play quarters, they can play cover 3. So right here, if he sees this press bail and he says, I like it, that ball should come out right there, right on that hitch right there. And then if you say no on that hitch, I know a lot of coaches that will say, you either throw it either on that plant, if you're throwing this out route off plant, or if you're throwing it off a hitch, you got to throw it on that hitch. If something causes you to be indecisive on the plant or on the hitch, you now got to progress. And you got to progress what would be inside. Now, this is a little bit unique because they're sending a flat route to the same side as an out, to the same right side as a shallow. So, I don't sit in the meetings. I'm not sure that if they say, hey, if you don't throw this out route, we want you to come to the flat and then to the shallow. Could be the case. Again, like I said, I'm not involved in the meetings, but if I have somebody that doesn't throw it on that hitch right there, I'm going to say, let your feet take you to the next thing. As you can tell, he realizes he's late, and so he rushes it right here. And as he rushes it, we have a bit of an errant throw. These are the types of plays, though. Look at the down and distance, 2nd and 10 right here. If somebody's going to give us this space, this is where, and again, I'm not blaming the quarterback for a lack of experience or anything like that. I'm just merely looking at it as systematically in this concept. If you're going to feel that that guy's giving you enough depth, you got to let this thing fly, because if you look at the space, there is space there. Now, the other thing I'm not sure of, does the double clutch happen because of this player? Do we feel like this player is getting in the way and we're not sure if we can lay it over the top rim? These are things that you only know from that perspective. The view from up top is very different from the view on the field from that direction. And so as we go over this tape, something made him say, I'm not sure, and then feel like, I think I can still get it out there. We just have a bit of an errant throw. You can see the space that's provided. You want to just catch a ball, tap your feet right here, maybe turn up field for a little bit. We don't get it, and then that's going to now put us in 3rd and 10. All right, there's some good learning here that can take place on this coverage. It's a little bit unique in the way that they get to their 3 deep, 4 under. What they're doing is they're going to cloud to a side of the field. So this is the play where we come back inside and we find Cody there in the middle of the field. This concept, first I'll talk about the offensive concept. This concept is a mirrored concept. You have outs on the outside, then you have a middle read on the inside, which means if there's a single safety, he's going to snap it off. If there's 2 safeties sitting here, he is going to then take the middle of the field. So here, it may look like on the snap, it may look like, oh, well, hey, there's the 2 safeties that are going to make the field open. Not the case. What's happening here is he's running to deep third, he's running to deep middle, he's going to be deep third, and the corner is going to come down, and he's going to be responsible for the flat. Okay, so this is where you hear the term 3 cloud, because what's happening is they're playing a 3 deep zone. But if you look at the rotation is that the defenders are moving this way and a corner is going down. That means that they are clouding. They are going to have a corner is going to be the flat player, and a safety is going to be the deep third. So what they do is they're getting to 3 deep. You can see it a little bit better now. There's them getting to 3 deep. This is the flat player, hook player, flat player, right? And all they're doing is they're giving us what looks like a little bit of pressure, looks like they're bringing a backer, but that really is just a 4-man rush. So it's 3 deep, 4 under. This is just your basic cover 3, but again, they're clouding it. So a lot of the times what a quarterback does is if he has these mirrored routes and he sees the coverage kicking this way, he's going to work that out route to the boundary. Well, as you see, the flat defender buzzes underneath it. So when they buzz underneath it, now what you got to do is you got to come in, you got to find that middle reader, that basic route. So this is a well-executed play here. He goes to the out, says, I can't throw the out. Let me come back inside. If he were to come back inside to that in cut and these defenders were to have sunk to take it away, now you come to this chip flat right here. That's the progression. So the progression would basically be out, Can't take him. Basic, yes or no. Check down right here. So well executed play by the offense. I know, again, it was a rough night. I'm not going through looking for, oh yeah, I'm only going to show the good players. I'm only going to show the bad plays. Again, the purpose is I am going to try to show football plays based off of reads, execution. Some of these I'll talk about that they weren't executed well. Some of these I'll talk about that they were executed well. I'm also doing this with having knowledge of what stuff I've shown in previous games, what stuff might be new for the viewers that are watching it that may not have seen some of those things, and you can still learn from. All right, this 3rd and 4 had some confusion, and I'm confused a little bit watching it. I've seen, we've seen BYU run this where they roll out, they sprint out to the left, and you see a sail concept. So what that is, the flood concept. You have a vertical go, you have a sail, and you have a flat. And what they're doing is they're trying to create this 3 levels. If it's zone coverage, there's 2 levels of the defense. You have the deep over the top coverage, and you have the underneath coverage. So by flooding a zone, 3 to a zone that can only cover 2 levels, somebody's going to be open. Or you get it versus man coverage, where like this, you try to create some leverage. You try to get outside leverage, lean on him, and run that sail. And if you beat them to the flat right now, you can take it. So what my eyes see is I see you're getting man coverage right here. So the options are the flat right now or the sail. So when Jake flips his hips right here, this tells me he's getting ready right here to throw the sail. Now the thing, once this ball comes out of his hand, and I get he's got to get rid of the ball because he's about to get hit, this is the part that's a little bit confusing to me, is I see our flat player turn up, and it looks like the sail is coming really hard downhill. The sail should be at this. Now sometimes you can hear what's called like being a little bit quarterback friendly, coming negative to the ball to create separation. Usually that's where the quarterback throws you. So as you come out of it with the defensive leverage on the inside, the quarterback can throw you to a spot here by the sideline, take you away from the coverage. Now, having a flat player that turn ups into that space kind of puts 2 in a spot, but even how negative this player is coming and how upfield he's getting, I'm not sure who this ball was meant for. I don't know if here, to me it looks like right here the decision's made to throw the sail. That's where I truly believe he's throwing the football. And then I think the flat just turns up, but then this far downhill, I think this is why this looks a little, if I look where the ball is being thrown, it looks like he threw it to the sail. And so I'm not totally sure what the outcome, again, to me, there's some confusion there on a critical 3rd and 4. I think that this sail concept is something they've done a lot of. Sprinting out to it is something they've done a lot of. Unsure why it ended up the way that it did. So this is one for me where I'm even left saying, I think that was a sail. That's what I assume it was. Why the flat player turned up and why the other guy was coming downhill, those are movements like if it's scramble drill. But to me, this is not, it hasn't entered scramble drill. This is a sprint out that's being thrown before the hash. So to me, scramble rules don't kick in. The integrity of the play should remain. And to me, this is a ball that should go to the sail. All right, here we go. I'm putting this on there because at times I've talked about on 1st down, throwing the football, dropping back, looking for something downfield and taking what the defense gives you. You can't always get in a run on 1st down situation. You can't always get in, hey, let's just go for it and be aggressive and throw it no matter what situation. You also don't want to get stuck in only throwing quick game. So here's a play call that has been very, very successful for BYU. It's basically similar to one of the clips I just did before, is you have this go, you're going to start bending in, and you have this sail concept, and you have chip flats, and you got this backside in cut. So a lot of the times what you're doing is you're playing this high-low between these two, the sail and the flat. The other thing you could do is you can come back to this backside in cut, which they do later in the game, and they throw a great ball. But in this case right here, as the viewer, one of the reasons why I'm showing it is, as the viewer, everything's out of your screen. So you can't see what's going on. So all you see is on 1st down a ball that's thrown to the flat. There's a defender there, and he gets tackled for barely any gain. And you're wondering, great, now we're set up in 2nd and long, right? We've been in that situation before. Now what are we going to do? Well, I want to talk about how we got there. So when you look at this sail concept, you see this press look here. You see what looks like a half player, and you see quarters players over here. So, hey, I like sail concepts. I like the flood concept over here. should work. But as you can see it start to play out, you're going to see this player is going to sink with width. And what that's doing is his depth and width is going to sink him right into the sail concept. So because of that, we now have to take this flat. But because it's a chip flat, it's going to get out later. An example would be this. If we run somebody to the flat right now, or if you bring somebody in motion and he runs a bubble, whatever it is, if he's getting out there right now, the stretch impacts this player. If this player sinks with depth and width to a space that doesn't allow us to throw the sail concept, then we've beat them with width and we should be able to get over here and throw this football and then now run for however many yards we can pick up. But because it's a chip flat, because we chip first and then we go to the flat, we don't have as big of influence on the flat player. So now watch as the hook player sinks with eyes, because our quarterback is having his eyes over that direction. As he sinks and the quarterback has to say no to the sail, when he comes down to the check flat, the check flat is inside the hash. Now their hook player can make a play on it. And that's what you see right here. This is not the flat player making a play on it. This is the hook player. The flat player has sunk with depth, and that's what's taking away the sail concept. Okay, so someone may say, well, why doesn't he just come back to the backside in cut? When he comes back to the backside in cut, can you see this player here? Him sinking with depth, there's no guarantee that that backside in cut's going to have a window. Also, he's losing a little bit of space because of the protection. So this is not a bad decision. This is a fine decision based off of the schematics of where they are in the field, who they're taking away. And now it puts the hook player in a bind, which he's right there to make the tackle. And if you look and see where he's making the tackle, he's making the tackle about 5 yards inside the numbers. That means he's moved with depth, and then now he's getting to our player. So to me, this looks like an unsuccessful play, and many will throw their hands up and say, why are we doing that again? Why are we throwing the ball into the flat? This video is merely to show you, based off of where they are in space and where the ball is going, it is not a bad decision. They're throwing it to a spot where the ball can go, and he's getting tackled for no gain. All right, I'm putting this play on here for a number of reasons. One of them, it being third down. I like putting third downs on these videos just because they're critical plays in a game. I also like it because of the coverage that BYU is getting here. It's a really unique coverage, and I thought it'd be cool for the viewers to be able to see exactly what's going on. So over on this side of the field, you're going to see this triangle, okay? You've heard me talk about these triangles before. Basically what they're doing is one of these guys, this corner, is going to have his eyes inside. And what he's doing is he's looking for any outbreaker, any flat or outbreaker. What he's going to do is he's going to jump it, and the safety is going to have to play half over the top. So if this receiver ran a vertical route and this player on the inside ran a quick out or a flat, he would get jumped by him and he would play over the top to take away. And then this defender would be inside leverage working this way. So you're going to see this triangle. I'm going to break this down in pieces and let the play out so you can see what it is. This is the third down that Cody picks up in zone, settling in zone. It's a really nice job by him. He reads this as space. And so he settles in zone right here. And he's not wrong. This is a zone coverage. But what they're doing is they're triangulating over these two players. You can see this defender's eyes inside. You can see him positioning with eyes outside. What they're doing is, let's say if we were to run a slant flat combination over here, they would pass that off. And then this defender would be what's called high hat or top hat over the top. But here what you're getting is this little quick out by Cody. He's reading it as zone, and that's why you see his posture. He's waiting for an inbreaker. He has eyes in for an outbreaker, and then you have the other safety running over the top. Now, this is a combination coverage. You've heard me talk about combination coverages before. That's what you're getting to this side of the field. That is not what you're getting up here to the top. So let's back it up again. What we're getting to the top is you're getting a man coverage. You're getting man here. You're going to see man, and you're going to see man. Watch this. They're going to line up. He's man, and he's man. Right there. That's how it goes. So BYU is running what's called a spacing concept, which means it's going to be a hook over the ball, a short hook here, and a flat. That's a spacing concept, zone beater. So in this look right here, it would be easy to tell, hey, I bet the quarterback is probably thinking, can I win in space here? If so, I take it. If I feel like this defender is too wide and I'm not going to win in space, I'm going to come back and I'll play the spacing concept, which they do later in the game, and I have a clip of that. because it didn't work out as well. So here, good decision, but you can see on the top side this man spacing concept, how they're trying to man it up. Well, the inside backer, we back it up, this player is who has the furthest to run. So if the quarterback had chosen up top, the spacing side, the ball would have and should have gone to the flat route. And I put this play up. I like how much information is happening. I like what it shows the people that are watching these videos to learn. And also it gives a little insight into why the quarterback chose this side of the field and a good job of filling space. The other reason I put it up, this play comes up again and we do not get a completion on it. And I'm going to talk about what read happened and why it worked out the way that it did. All right, this is a play I'm putting on. It's a well-executed play, but I like because of the football scheme that it's showing and the execution of it. I like the way the quarterback pulled this RPO and the authority that he delivered the football with. But let's talk about what it is. So this is a very simple RPO, and what it is this is our key defender right here. BYU is running an inside, what I call duo scheme. So it's working double teams up to the backer, double team up to the backer. We're going to be solid on the edges, but it's mostly about those double teams, and it's this inside run. And what the quarterback is doing is he is keeping an eye here that if that player comes downhill hard and adds on as the unblocked player, we can throw this bang post, this skinny post. And so that's what you're seeing. Right here, the quarterback's making a decision. He's looking at how hard this player comes downhill and adds on. So because he's coming downhill, he pulls the football and he quickly delivers this bang post. Now, this is a really well-executed play. And I know that for many BYU fans, they're saying, well, there wasn't that many plays. There's more bad than good. I want to show football in a way that the people that are wanting to watch this channel and the things that I put up so they can learn more about the game have those plays here, right? Yes, there are plays that we can critique, and we'll talk about some of those, but I don't want to not put these plays on. That this is a well-executed scheme. The ball's delivered a strike, and it allows people to see what exactly is going on. This is a true RPO, and the quarterback is reading how fast downhill that unblocked player comes. And because this is a quarter's look, and this guy's not running hard back down to the middle of the field, right? He's just backing up. Because of this, the ball can be delivered. So I really like this play. Now look, as I say, it's a quarter's look. There's probably elements that are deep middle, deep third. He's coming downhill. So I go back on me saying that it was a quarter's look. It starts a quarter's look, but then they're going to get downhill hard. And because of that, we can throw this bang into a single high look. All right, this play I'm putting on here because I felt like this was a really good play by Jake in this game. Well-delivered football. Okay, this concept, you've heard me talk about doubles game or mirrored routes. Basically, these mirrored routes, you're going to have these deep stem routes or comeback routes. He's going to read the middle of the field depending if it's open or closed. He can also settle here in the middle, which is what he does. And then out of the backfield, you have these chip to flats. So this is what's happening here. Now, Jake is buying time because these throws are more downfield. Now, I don't think he necessarily had to leave the pocket immediately like he knew he needed to, but there is a little bit of a mistake right here. So what's happening on the front of the O-line? And when I say mistake, I don't mean on Jake's part. In protection, this is a 7-man protection, all right? Which means by no means should they ever bring 4 guys and somebody comes in untouched. Okay, so usually what happens is if they count this as a 3 down, the offensive line then is going to account for a direction, meaning we can push to a direction. So an example would be this. If the line makes a call that's going to, because he's on the ball, if they're going to push out in this direction, and they're going to make, some teams call it like a Liz call, a lap call, whatever the L word call is, it's going to send the center, the guard, and the tackle out 3 for 3. Then what's going to happen is this running back would be responsible for the linebacker that is on the left side or comes to the offense's left side over here, or any secondary player that adds on. Those are going to be his responsibilities. That means to now the field side over here, you have 2 offensive linemen and another tight end. So basically all they have to be responsible for is those 2 plus any secondary player, because they can handle 3. So here, when the line steps with width, we shouldn't see a double team here. What should happen is he's going to set for the widest guy. That widest guy backed up. So he can step down inside. Now let's say our left guard was not anticipating him backing up. He sets for width thinking he's got to reach all the way to him. That's fine. When a backer adds on, we have 3 guys plus a running back. That means to this side of the field, we could actually handle 4. Now, because the nose crosses face and goes into the A gap to the field, that center is going to stay on him. So the center stays on him. That's fine. We have guard, tackle, running back. We can actually handle 3 people. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. We can handle 3 people to this side of the center as he moves that way. They bring 2. There's 1, there's 2, and we have 3 guys, and we have a free runner. Okay, so this is some of the areas where things need to get cleaned up. You should never be in 7-man protection, then bringing 4 guys, and one of those guys is unblocked. So when I said Jake didn't need to get out right away, this was not something that he said, oh, if that backer comes, I'm hot, I got to get out of the pocket. This is merely feel. Jake is taking a longer drop because he's trying to set up for deeper routes down the field. But then he feels an unblocked player. So he feels an unblocked player. Now here's what's really good. He is still in his, what I call, drive phase. He is escaping the pocket. As he's escaping, he just flips the ball. He sees Parker settle in zone, flips the ball and finds him. This was an excellent fill by the wide receiver, and what I feel like was one of his better throws during the game, and he drove it. The thing I also like, he drove it to his chin. This ball did not die out. This is good arm strength on the move to that space. He drives it. Now, unfortunately, as he turns upfield, we get the ball stripped. These are the things that hurt, right? We don't block it well to start with. The quarterback's got an unblocked man in 7-man protection. Quarterback evades, gets out of the pocket, makes a really, really good play, throws it beyond the sticks on 1st and 10. We get upfield. All we got to do is hold on to the football. We're in field goal range. Unfortunately, we turn it over. So really tough outcome on a well-executed play by the quarterback, overcoming what wasn't great protection. All right, this was the start of the third quarter. Man, to be backed up and deliver a strike like that on this concept, it was a great throw. Obviously, very uncharacteristic of Chase to drop that ball right there. That would have been a big one right there to catch that, get us up close to the 40-yard line potentially on this throw. Again, being backed up. So you got the ball, your ball snapped on your 10-yard line. You call a 4 verts concept and you're able to nail this. That's big, right? But this concept is this. It's 4 verts. There's the 4 verticals. When you hear me talk about 4 verticals in 2x2, I'm going to back it up a little bit. If it's 2x2, you have seams and go routes on both sides of the field, all right? In 3x1, this inside player is going to work towards that opposite hash, the opposite seam. They still stay on their seams and goes, and he stays on his go. So you can see with the overlay of the green over the red how they're still working the same landmarks, but in one it's 2x2 and in one it's 3x1. So that's what's happening here. It's 3x1. He's working the opposite seam. Some teams call that a through seam because you're running through the formation to get to the opposite seam. Some teams call it a special seam because you're working from one side to the other. But here's 4 verts, and then we're going to run this under route or shallow route. So from what the defense shows us, they show us, this right here, you would not be wrong to consider this a quarters look. But the influence of Isaac running across the field brings this safety with him, playing more of like a single high look. And what that does is that gives this space in this area here for the seam. So really good job by Jake recognizing right here, as you can see Isaac working that through seam. What you can't see because he's out of the film is the safety work this direction. The flat player expands outside of him, and the hook player, nobody's getting hands on. And so Chase is just able to work vertically right up that seam. And again, man, this is a really well-placed ball. You can kind of see it right here. Do you see how he's outside of him? You got to take a ball that brings him just the littlest bit inside. So, man, I really like everything to this point is executed so well. It's just a drop, right? And like I said earlier, it could have been a really, really big play to be from backed up and get here close to the 40. Unfortunately, it was a drop. And when you're in a game like this and you're down 27-0, these plays can be big, and it hurts when they don't get nailed.
All right, this play here has got a couple elements to it that I like and why I put it on there. It's not so much about the game, but it's about just what's happening in terms of the game of football here. So what you're going to see is you're going to see this zone run, this inside zone run. And there's going to be a key defender, which is going to be this player right here. This is not an unblocked player. The offensive line will actually work up to him. But the thing that's happening right here is you have this little bubble screen that's happening out here. And what the quarterback is doing is he's making a determination. Is this player closer to the box, or is he closer to the bubble screen out on the outside? So what you're doing is you are essentially creating a play here and a play here. And you're saying, where is this player closest to? Is he closest to here or closest to here? So I'm going to read it. So as you see, Jake's going to put the ball out right here, that right there. And in that moment, he's making a decision saying, do I out leverage him here? Or is this player widening where now it gives us an advantage in the box? Because if you look to the to the offensive line, they're going to work up in this direction here, and they're going to get up to these backers. They should, right? We should have everybody covered up. But let's just say if we have an opportunity to get the ball out on the edge, which is out here with two blockers, and this defender stays in the box, the person that's going to have a chance to make the tackle is the safety coming from that depth. Or if he stays inside, he's inside the hash having to run a long ways. Now, there is an element here where it's a good thing we threw this, because when you get into the O-line right here, either his eyes are down, something's happening, but we don't work to this backer. If this ball was handed off right here, if this running back can't get to that space before he gets there, we have an unblocked player on an inside running play, which we can't have that. So the other thing I like here, football now is turned to this space where if you notice Jake Retzlaff's body position here, back in the day, this would be considered poor body position on a throw. Why would you put yourself in a position that is awkward or that is off balance or off platform? But the thing now is it's all about speed. It's getting the ball out of your hand as fast as you can. I love this in football. I love that now more teams are open to this. Coaching styles are saying, hey, if we got a guy that can do this, let's let him do it. You look how quick the ball is getting out. He's not exchanging his feet. He's just rotating into that right foot on the ground, and he's throwing. So I really like that this is in football. I like how quick he just snaps the ball out here. You see Aaron Rodgers do this a lot. And really it's because of the Aaron Rodgers, the Patrick Mahomes, guys that have done this, that I think teams have said, oh, okay, we're going to be okay with it then, if we have a guy that can do it. It literally used to be something that if you would do that in practice, the coach would say, what are you doing? That's lazy. Get your feet in better position. So anyway, this is why I put this play on. I love what's happening up here and how we can see that there's a defender that's in a bind. We're reading off him. Gives us a look to see what the offensive line has to do. Again, like I said, it's a good thing this ball was thrown because we have an unblocked player running in there. So I just like it. There's a lot of football going on here. BYU is able to pick up some yards, but there's a lot of things to look at. All right, this is a play for me that is a staple play for BYU. Yet it leaves me with some question marks. So I'll start with the concept. You have an out, you're going to have a mesh, and you're going to have a person that's going to be over the ball, and they send the back into the flat. Some teams will run, and when I say some teams, I'm not specifically saying like just BYU. I'm just saying teams in general. Having a speed out with a mesh concept is common, right? Sometimes you'll have the OTB over the ball here. You can have a rail route over here. Some teams, it'll be out. There'll be a mesh concept. There'll be a corner. There's a bunch of different variations for this. But in essence, regardless of what the variation is, it starts up here with the out. If you have the free access out, you take the free access out. Then you come down to this mesh. And however it works out, they're going to have somebody else that's going to be over the ball. And I spoke about it earlier. That's the inside triangle. Here, the way that BYU has this designed is they have a running back to the flat. The place where I have question marks, and that, again, I'm not in the meeting rooms. This is just me watching tape saying, okay, if I was going through this, I have some questions of how this ended up this way. So here's the thing. When I look at this, and I've said this a number of times on videos, I am not doing this because I am trying to step into a place of being critical of players or coaches. That's not why I started doing these videos at all. It was because of football. It was to talk strategy, to talk scheme, and to talk what is happening on game day and why the scheme is what it is, why the players are doing what they're doing, all of those things. And so as I watch this, it looks to me, well, first off, let me go to some blocking schemes. They're in a 4-down, okay? They're in a 4-down front in a 5-man protection. That's what you get when the back is free releasing. It's a 5-man protection. In this 5-man protection, the offensive line has to make some type of designation. And so usually what this would be is they're going to send the line either to the field or to the boundary here, and then you're going to have an unblocked player. So to me, I'm just kind of gauging it. If they're going to take the center, the guard, and the tackle for these three, that's who they're going to have allotted for. Then that means these two players are going to sort two of these three. Now, there's two ways to do it. One is you can say, we're going to keep the bigs on the front side, and you call that the man side. Over on this side over here, you can call this the zone side, which means there's going to be three of us, and whatever combination of these three they bring, we can handle them, okay? The big issue is this. West Virginia brings 4, and the 4th player is a delayed blitzer. He is not creeping up to the ball and then coming on the snap. He is coming from depth. So they have 3 people on the line and 1 coming from depth. And yet there is an unblocked player in the face of our quarterback to the side of our back and to the out that is right in his face. Going back to the zone side and the man side. If this is the zone side and we're 3 for 3 and this is the man side, what that would do is that would leave this backer coming from depth unblocked, which is fine. If you as a quarterback feel him coming from depth, you can just take this flat route right now by the running back. Take it right now. If I let the play out, if we take the flat route right now because that linebacker came, we're going to be blocked here in our face. We're going to be blocked there. And we're going to get the ball out with a guy 5 yards from us. Easy. Okay, going back. Why did it work out the way that it did? It looks to me like this is the zone side for 3. And then they sorted these 3, which here's what a sort means. It means if this player if this player rushes and this player blitzes one of the inside gaps, you're going to get a squeeze. And what they're doing is they are saying if this backer blitzes here and the edge rusher runs there, we're going to take the tightest of the 2 players, which means we will step down and we will leave the widest player. Well, in this case, the tighter player is coming from depth. And so watch this. The right guard is going to set here. And then when the center and guard, when they see this backer come, they step down. When they step down, it now puts our right tackle in a bind where he fills 2 people. So then he steps down. So this is where we have the free runner running into the face of the quarterback. And if those are the rules that they're playing by, those are the rules that they're playing by. You can't argue when guys are executing the rules. My only thing when I see this is we have a free access out route where if a linebacker runs from depth right here and is unblocked, there are beliefs, and I believe in this, that say a quarterback should be able to catch the ball, go 1, 2, 3, throw, and beat this player. He should not get there in time if he comes from depth. The other thing is, if we want to throw the flat route right now, we can throw it. So my thing is this. I see an out route and I see a flat route. Both of them we should have the ability to throw, but there's an unblocked player in our face. And because of that, it looks somewhat like the ball gets tipped, and that's why it's inaccurate and it dies right here. But an unblocked player jumping in your face, this is tough. And, it's just tough when they're only rushing 4 guys and one of them's coming from depth to say that we're just going to give up a guy. Again, I am not in the meeting room. I don't know the lineman rules. I'm basing all these things off of rules that I've been around. But when I see 1, 2, 3, 4 of the linemen dressed in white blocking 2 of the defensive players for West Virginia, to me, we got an issue there. And then it's putting 1 player in a bind of 2. And then, that's where you look at this and saying, are our rules beating ourselves in this case? Which to me, there is some of that going on here because we got to be able to complete on 3rd and 7 when we have somebody in the flat that has a good chance of picking up the first down and a guy on a 10-yard out with so much free access we can't even see the defender in the tape. We got to find a way to get the ball to those two guys by blocking the people in front of us. All right, BYU's running this 4 verts concept here with a motion swing to the front side. This one almost gets in there, trying to squeeze it in. Isaac gets lit up. Just want to talk about why this ball was thrown. I actually thought if you're going to pull the trigger and be aggressive, he's doing it here. Yes, there's a safety out of position. So talking about the safeties, it looks like he is coming down and inserting in the hole or buzz position, which means let's just say they were rotating to cover 3. That would be a deep third safety. That would be a deep third corner, deep third corner. Now I'll highlight in red the underneath players. Flat player, hook player, middle player, him buzzing down into the hole to be the hook player and a flat player. Because there's 5 underneath, we're only a 3-man rush right here. So if this is the case, and this is what they're trying to get to, then this safety is absolutely out of position. He is not getting in a position to guard the through seam. 4 verts is looking like this right now from 3x1. So if this player was truly buzzing down into that hole spot, great recognition of this safety being out of position. Now, I don't know if this was him buzzing down into that hole spot or because of the way that he stays on the hash, if this was a quarters look where because he got flat-footed, because he didn't feel anybody to his side pressing vertically, running in, any of that stuff, so he stays shallow and he's not looking up number 3. And what I mean by that is sometimes what quarters teams will do is they'll play a poach, meaning he's in quarters, but because there's 3 receivers to this side of the field, he'll turn his eyes this direction looking for anybody running across the ball or across the formation to this other seam. And so if this is 4 poach, he just has his eyes kind of caught in the backfield a little bit. And so he's a little bit late. Whatever it is, he realizes I'm a little bit out of position. And so he looks up the crosser. That's why as soon as this ball hits Isaac, he gets lit up. And I know that it's really tight. Whether Jake is recognizing somebody's out of position or if he just fills the space. Right here, you can see these guys, this is the direction they're heading. You can see this space right here is absolutely looking like it has a chance. Now, their guy does a decent job recovering, but that's why in this situation right here, it looks like he's taking a shot past the numbers. Down the hash with the guy that's about to hit him. Again, also, it's been a tough night. It's 4th and 7. He's trying to find a way to get in there. I know that it may look like, man, if we just throw this swing, if we get the ball to that swing really fast, you're going to see these guys collapse. I think it was good for him to be really decisive and aggressive. When you see somebody as big as Isaac Rex get launched like that, that guy's putting a hit on him. So it was an almost. But I just like the fact that we get to talk about why that window was there. Yes, it's tight. This guy recovers really, really well. And how it almost got in there, again, on a 4 verts concept against this West Virginia defense. All right, I'm throwing this up. It's a concept you saw BYU use earlier in the game. The ball went the other direction. This one, we're trying to squeeze it in there on this spacing concept. But earlier in the game, just to remind you, it's going to be here. It's a quick out or he can settle versus zone. Looks like he also has the option to turn in. And then you're going to get this spacing here up on the top side. So a lot of the times, it's just we're looking for space. Can this player win here? If we feel like it's 2 head up and that he's going to take away space, he's removing himself from inside. And then so what that does is that gives positions here in terms of space. And so what they're trying to do offensively is you put a guy over the ball, you put a guy in the short hook, and you put a guy in the flat. And what that's doing is that's putting 1, 2, 3 in a position where most likely they're only going to have 2 defenders. All right? And so this is exactly what's happening right here. Now, I will say this. Sometimes in upper levels, they tell the quarterback, even if you know you're going to take, this side of the field, even if you know you're going to go there, start your eyes here so that it moves the mic. And if it moves the mic to that side of the field, it's going to give you more space to work here on the spacing. But this is an area that as Jake goes back and watches the tape, he's going to see this concept. I've always learned this concept as start with the OTB, and then you're going to work out. So you can actually start your eyes here, and you can start your eyes in this position. It'll move the mic. If he wins, you give it to him. If he doesn't, you're off of him. And as you're off of him, you're going to come right to the OTB right here, which right there for Isaac, it's an easy one, right? He's open, boom, you pop it on him. It looks to me as if he's seeing it as a whole, meaning all of the space. Because if you look at how they drop right here, I would consider open and open, right? And the one space that they do cover up a guy that their defender squeezes is here where the ball goes. This is why you space it out. When you can put somebody over the ball, short hook and flat, it requires their defenders in space to squeeze, which means if this defender squeezes, I now go here. And the only thing that takes me off him is if that guy squeezes. Well, if they had a squeeze to the OTB and a squeeze to the short hook, there is nobody right here. That's why the spacing concept is we're going to get 3 into a space of 2 defenders. And so look, as Jake goes back and watches this, 2nd and 8, he's going to see, oh man, I had inside guy, outside guy, and I tried to kind of force it to the outside hook. And he'll learn, right? First college football start. I know he's got some JC ball under his belt. In a game where things have been tough, sometimes you can try to process a little too quickly, or you're thinking you got to throw it to a guy upfield because you've had too many balls you've thrown to the flat, and somehow the defense has had somebody to rally there. I mean, look, there's all these things that can happen. As he goes back and watches this tape and he looks at it and recognizes what's going on, he's going to see, man, I have an OTB and a flat that I can absolutely get the ball to. I'm going to end with a positive. The reason why I want to end with the positive is this is the type of plays that BYU is going to have to make in the upcoming weeks to be able to put some points on the board and sustain some drives. We've seen it enough now. Not a lot of things are going to happen easy for this BYU team. They're going to have some grit. They're going to have to fight for everything. This is a play right here that I see a lot of grit in making this play. So actually, let me back up. Let me play it out. You'll remember this. This is coming backside to the deep in cut with a guy hanging on his back, makes the catch. These are going to be the type of windows, type of throws, type of catches that we need to have happen. This is just basically a fade out concept to one side of the field with a deep cross and a backside in cut. This is a pure progression play. It's going to start with 1 on the quick out to the deep over to the in cut. Some coaches, they'll coach up, start with the deep over, and if the defense sinks underneath it, that's going to take you naturally to the quick out. So sometimes you hear the word 1A, 1B. Some people say 1A, 1B. Others say 1A, 1B, vice versa. But you're essentially creating this high-low with the quick out and the over, back to the in cut. So here you're going to see Jake. He's probably reading this space here with the deep over and the out. He feels a lot of bodies in space underneath it, so he works back to his in cut. This is the thing I like. This is why I call it a gritty play. Here's a guy that in the first 3.5 quarters has already had to scramble out of the pocket, get what he can get. He's been hit. He's been sacked. It's 37-0. He's standing in the pocket, bodies around him, delivers a ball. I even think he might have gotten hit right as he was throwing at his arm. And Chase has got a guy on his back, hanging on him. He fights on this in cut, holds on to the ball. Like, these are big plays. And I know it seems very insignificant in a game that it's 37-0, but these are the types of plays that guys need to say, this might be what it feels like this year. This might be what it feels like these last few games. Who are going to be the guys that are going to step up and with somebody hanging on their back are going to make this on 3rd and 8? As fans, we've seen this throughout the year. BYU has found themselves in a lot of these 3rd and 8 plus. These are not easy downs, and it's going to take plays like this if we want to pick up those type of 3rd downs and stay on the field and move the chains.